Hi, my name is Mo,
My name is Chris.
and this is KCMO Sports. We're going to be talking about the MLB today, so let's get
Lance,
started.
Lance Berkman signs deal with the Rangers to be the designated hitter.
You think do you guys think that he might be a good replacement, especially because the Rangers lost Josh Hamilton and Mike Napoli? Personally, I think he could probably replace Mike Napoli, but Hamilton was just a big gap in the lineup now, and I definitely think they're going to struggle a little bit this season.
Dontrell Willis comes back from retirement and signs with the Chicago Cubs.
It's a minor league contract. I personally do not think he will make it any farther than the minor leagues because he is just his best season was in 2007, or his last time he had a decent season. Was in 2007, which was a while because after that was the last. The reason why he did so good was he was still with Florida. And in 2008 he went to Detroit and he was not good at all. And definitely I don't think he's going to do good with Chicago especially because of his old age. So. Now the Cubs are ahead of. They say that they might be ahead of schedule for a rebuilding. As you know, they haven't done so good the last few seasons. So the first off, they signed Scott Baker and Scott Feldman to one-year deals, which bring depth to their pitching rotation. Then they signed Edwin Jackson to a 4-year deal. As you know, Edwin Jackson is a young guy, still a young pitcher, so he could definitely develop and become a pretty good pitcher with him. Carlos Villanueva signed a 2-year deal, and of course they still have Matt Garza as their number one. So they definitely have good depth in their starting rotation, and they have guys that can back them up. So if there's any injuries that occur, they have guys. So extra pitching is always good for a team. Then it also paves the way for the young guys, and that could eventually make them into a good team. Also could bring short-term competition, and their minor league is in the top half and slowly rising. And on top of that, they got they got 4 picks out of the first 67 picks in the 2012 draft. So about in 2015 maybe they will be looking a lot stronger than they are now. So, moving on.
The Nationals re-signed Adam LaRoche to a 2-year contract. The Orioles are looking to trade for Justin Upton from the Arizona Diamondbacks.
The Rockies are looking to sign Jeff Karstens, Derek Lowe, Aaron Cook, or Jared Jurgens. I know because they're looking for starting pitching. There were talks that they were talking to the Royals for Luke Hochevar and Bruce Chen, but I highly doubt anything is going to happen there. So they're going to look for one of these guys to come in and take over for one of their pitching staff. And also the Phillies are looking to sign Scott Hairston or trade for Vernon Wells or Alfonso Soriano. There was also talks that Scott Hairston was going to try signing with the Mets. So either way, he gives a good a decent bat in the lineup. He has pretty good power and pretty good speed. So, and he's veteran, so definitely look for him to do good for either team. Now, and I do think that Michael Bourne might end up signing with the Phillies. I don't know why. I just really think he will.
A-Rod is getting surgery. He'll be back in time for spring training. Rangers looking to sign starting pitcher Matt Harrison to an extension. They also might try to sign Michael Bourne and Kyle Loesch.
Ryan Braun announces that he will suit up to play for the Team USA in the World Baseball Classic. And Craig Biggio talks. Do you guys think he's a Hall of Famer? I personally think he is. What do you got on that?
Well, I have, from what I've been hearing, that the voting membership of the Baseball Hall of Fame does not elect players for the first time since 1996. Well, they're saying that 75% of the vote was needed for Hall of Fame induction, and that the writers voted these guys in. I think they should move it over to where the fans vote in the players instead of the writers writing in the players or voting in the players. I think it should be the fans because Craig Biggio got 68.2% of the votes. Roger Clemens got 37.6% of the votes, and Barry Bonds got 36.2%. We all know Craig Biggio is a great player. I mean, Roger Clemens and Barry Bonds, they're both great players too. And if it was up to the fans would have voted all three of them in.
I kind of disagree on the last two. Biggio definitely should be a Hall of Famer. He did a great job in his career. He's probably one of the best Houston Astros players ever, him and Jeff Bagwell. But Barry Bonds and Roger Clemens, it's not a secret they all used enhancing drugs, which maybe Barry Bonds could possibly make it because he is the home run king. He did beat Hank Aaron's record.
Yeah.
But Roger Clemens, he had a lot of good times in his career, but I don't believe he should be a Hall of Famer because of the enhancing drug. Now, Biggio, again, no enhancing drugs and did a great job in his career. Definitely a Hall of Famer. Now we're going to move on to the top free agents at each position from free agency that are still available for teams to pick up. Now, the top 5 starting pitchers, Kyle Lowes, Roy Oswalt, Joe Saunders, Sean Markham, and Jared Jurgens.
Relief pitchers, Rafael Soriano, Jose Valverde, Brian Wilson, Kevin Gregg, and Brad Lidge.
There's also Matt Capps, too, so there's actually 6 in there. Top 5 catchers are Mike Napoli, Rod Barajas, Miguel Olivo, Chris Snyder, and Brian Schneider.
The first basemen are Brian LaHare, Casey Kochman, Lyle Overbay, Aubrey Huff, and Dan Johnson.
Let's go back to Brian LaHare. He made it to an All-Star game. He represented the Chicago Cubs in the All-Star game when they came to Kansas City. I saw him play. Now, in the first half of the season, he did amazing. Like, very, very good. Second half of the season, he did horrible. Horrible. He lost his starting position to Anthony Rizzo at first base. And I still think he could redeem himself if someone just signs him back. He was a great player. Definitely a young guy. Just fresh out of the minors and only played one season in the majors. So I definitely think he could be a possible starter for another team. Top 5 second basemen are Kelly Johnson, Orlando Hudson, Ryan Theriot, Freddie Sanchez, and Adam Kennedy.
Top 5 third basemen are Casey McGahee, Brandon Inge, Scott Rowland, Mark DeRosa, and Matt Downs.
Top 5 shortstops, Alex Gonzalez, Cesar Izturis, Jason Bartlett, Omar Vizquel, and Yuniesky Betancourt.
The top 3 designated hitters are Luke Scott, Jim Tomei, and Travis Hafner.
Now, the last section is outfielders. There was a lot of outfielders that probably should have been that I thought should have been named off. So we have the top 20. So the first 10 are Michael Bourne, Scott Hairston, Carlos Lee, Delman Young, Grady Sizemore, Ryan Sweeney, Marlon Byrd, Niger Morgan, Scott Posednik, and Ryan Rayburn.
Now the last are Kosuke Fukudome, Ben Francisco, Chone Figgins, Andrew Jones, Austin Kearns, Juan Rivera, Matt Diaz, Johnny Damon, Bobby Abreu, and Rick Ankiel.
And that's the end of this segment.